And when you get the root card, the whole house comes tumbling down. Fruit of the poison tree doctrine and law. Right? They drew up those titles to the land because we didn't sell land no way. We didn't need no titles to the land. We already knew that the clan mothers governed the land and who settles where. And they had conventions. This is where you get your Congress from. Congress is a Congress of mayors. The mayors is town mothers. So they would go to a meeting once a year and they would say, okay, this chief got 2,000 followers, but he's still under this other chief's jurisdiction. We need his own town. So he was get appointed to plot of land to settle based upon the natural formation of the land. Your land is between this mountain, this line of trees, this river, and this row of rocks. That's your town. That's your land. You go take your 2,000 people, separate from the chief that you under, because y'all don't see eye to eye to prevent warfare from uprising in the family. So then they go and get their allotment, and then the resources goes with them to facilitate a successful settlement. This is not what we was doing before Columbus came. We got to go back to what we was doing before the enemy came if we want our shit back. Because the enemy gave us a system and told us if we use his system, he'll fight for us. And the only thing he's been fighting is us. You can't fight for us and fight us at the same time. That don't even make sense. That's called an oxymoron. You can't fight for us and fight us at the same time. They call us dependent nations in the constitutional law. Outlaw tribes, savage tribes, and non-treaty tribes are all of the terms they use to describe the tribes that didn't want to play their game. But we have to use our system. We can't use their system. It's designed to keep us forever in slavery.
On these lands went over into that continent. So it's very possible that when they took the test, they, because now they're considered Africans.
But that's possible because they created a whole country called Liberia. But they not telling people they from Liberia. They telling you from Sierra Leone, you from Ghana.
Right.
You from Somalia. Nigeria. They ain't telling nobody they from Sierra. From Liberia, where we do have genetic links to. That just so conveniently to skip all the DNA tests.
Because it's just they give you a part, but never can tell you how you connected. Like Dulcinea says, where's the person and the people that you are connected with? Not like a little portions, different portions.
Look,
never connect to it.
If you know how DNA works, once you get past like 3 generations, you have too many ancestors to tie you down to one. It double every generation back. Your 2 parents had 4 parents. Your 4 grandparents had 8 parents. Them 8 parents had 16. It doubles as you go back. If you go back 100 years or 200 years, you talking about 64 to 100 and some ancestors. Which one is they talking about was the African?
Facts. I threw that in to try to help them a little bit, but I'm with you with it.
Right. So DNA don't work like that. The DNA that they read only expresses what they call a phenotype. A general descriptive appearance that's on a specific code of the DNA. And they assume because you have the same physical characteristics as somebody on the other side of the water that this will fit the narrative to disassociate them from the land. We ain't that dumb no more.
And
we used to be.
Yes.
We used to be, but we ain't that dumb no more. There's too many of us aware that we from over here because we feel it in our bones. We don't need nobody to tell us. The earth talk to us if we listen and tell us if we belong here. If we don't belong here, we get restless until we find where we belong. We still gonna always be tribes. Tribes mean families. We can always break up into extended family groups. It's just the nature of who we are. This is why when we started tribing up in the 60s and 70s, they started labeling the tribes as gangs, because most people don't know gang mean tribe. Right? So we just need to first close down the old system, and nature will put us back in the proper structure as the tribal mothers step up and be recognized, and the families will begin to remember shit. They don't know why they remember it. We know everything already about the land. Talk to us, telling us what took place. But we have to get back into the energy where we receptive to the messages that the land is producing to tell us the whole story. The animals reenact the story, the trees. Like most of us, a high percent of us don't know that you used to be able to walk the treetops from Florida to damn near Texas without ever climbing down out of a tree getting on the ground. But they chopped all the trees down because it was wartime. And they took all of the cypress trees out of Florida, which was the giant trees that covered the land of flowers. This is all researchable information. That was the side effect of the Gullah Wars. They started gator baiting our babies because we used to ride alligators and sick alligators on their ass in the bottom of the canopy on the ground in the swamp, and used to attack them from the trees in the top, and they didn't have a chance. So it was all derived out of warfare. The genetic information that they feeding us back from their DNA testing is all warfare. We can either win the war or we can choose to take sides with the enemy. Using a court system only gives them jurisdictional context to assert jurisdiction under the color of law. We don't need them for nothing. We don't need their courts, which was established, the first bar association was established in Savannah, Georgia, about 1863, 1864, by order of King George, to usurp the tribal courts. We still have tribal courts over here, but because we believe they more legitimate than we are, we only participate in their system. There's nothing they can do once we get back to our own culture. The land was used to facilitate farms, to produce foodstuffs, to take care of the family wherever they was at throughout the country. We used to ship food from Big Mama house to the villages. Well, we call them towns and cities now, right? But they were just little settlements of people. Some of them had castles, some of them had huge buildings, and some of them had small houses and huts, log cabins. But it was what we choose to do with our settlement, and that was part of us receiving settlements, is being able to control our own destiny. I think I understand what you're saying. So when you have the blood rights is a member of the royal families of the land, you become what's called a pretender to the throne. And your life work becomes the foundation that you build as you go on a campaign to alert the rest of the heirs on the land that you asserting your jurisdictional right to restore the land. And so the campaign is a process called the redemption process that we follow, where we use the oral tradition. This is why I use social media, because it's all time stamped and dated in archivable format for the purposes of public notices. So whatever I'm putting in the public domain, no matter whose show I'm on right now, I'm also asserting my rights to restore the land back to the original people, wherever they at on the land. It don't matter where you at, because once we get it back, the family will have family reunions again, centered around one of the grandmamas we would call big mamas. And they would set up the family trust, which is your family banking system, in order to allocate resources to the members of the family. And even the tribes that don't think from referring to them will receive their tribal rights back under our system that they were denied under the corporate fiction that was the interim government for the time of war. That's over with. They closed March the 1st. Right. So, well, that's the scheduled day of closing. They're supposed to have been closed. But they have no bill on the table to try to extend their legal fiction any longer than March the 1st. So we will be having a national Mardi Gras next year. Trump announced it as a 250 year celebration, right? Which takes us to February the 25th, and it's 25 on 2 flips, which is 2 quarters. 2 quarters is 50 flip. And you have 50 on each side. That's 200, which is the 4-corner shuffle to put everything back in its proper order. There's balance on both sides. 2 quarters on this side, 2 quarters on that side, which turns out to be 4 sevens, which is 4 masters. So it's all about getting back to our own systems so that we can be self-determining and autonomous, and we can make all of those decisions at the leadership summits about who gonna settle where and how we gonna tribe up. We got the right to restore our cultural heritage any way we see fit without anybody's outside opinion even being given a fuck about. It's not about and that was called the Ottawa Territory, and it was a conglomeration of tribes from all through what they call it the Northwest Territory. But we called it Ottawa Territory, and it was a group of tribes that was belligerent to the settlers crossing the Appalachians, interfering with the inland, what became later known as the Louisiana Purchase. The Protectorate Agreement of the French that they sold to the English was to make sure nobody crossed the Appalachians and went into. This is why you bring up King George, because they was not supposed to cross the Appalachians and go into what they called back then Indian territory or Bigfoot country, where the niggas with them big ass feet be stomping you across your neck.
Oh, come on now, my feet ain't.
So when they telling us the stories, they telling us we mythical creatures, we werewolves. No, we not werewolves. We just werewolf pelts when we fucking you up. Right? We wear the pelts of the jackal, or what we call over here the coyote. Right? So they came over as bloodsuckers. They vampires. We was already here, and they say we look like kin, so they call us lichens. And they tell us it's a story called Twilight. It's just a love story, but between a little pink girl and a little pink boy. But the native tribe turning into werewolves in the movie, and the pink motherfucker come from Europe to marry the little chick, because she got the blood from both tribes, the European tribe and the American tribes. So he gonna try to marry her so they can have this special baby. This is a story is redundant. It's the same shit over and over. Your whole Jesus Christ story reworked. Born of the blood of the Jews, but they murdered his ass at the hands of the Romans. It's the same fucking story. They just dress it up in a different suit. It's the same goddamn lie. It's just a well-dressed lie now. It was dressed up to look like a superhero.
Yep.
Remember, the pale face came for a drop of blood.
They always hurting somebody's feelings.
Right? J.A. Rogers in Sex and Race and Nature Knows No Color line say, and Superman and Man say that there was no self-respect in one of us that would touch one of them and there was none of them that would touch one of us. How do you get one of us to get with one of them? You got to tell us we can't do it. You got to make us rebel against the order of the day. They had no beauty standard, but they can only develop one once they get their drop of blood because their genetics doesn't allow for it. This is why they wore the corset dresses with the fox fanny. Yep, nature knows no color line. He's telling you that when they came over here, we wouldn't mix with them. We wouldn't touch them motherfuckers. Right? So when you force a people until you get to the mulatto stage and the octoroon stage, you can turn them loose on either side of the fence and they'll mix for you to get the drop of blood throughout the spectrum. This is what he was reading when he was showing you that we ain't like them motherfuckers and they ain't like us. But they have to get their drop of blood some kind of way. And they unleashed the reign of terror to get it. And they was brought over here to keep us from ever getting into the institutions to get to the information. Right? So this is what he's telling you in the story that he was reading is my man is describing how we perceive them, how they perceived us, and trying to figure out how to make us to perceive each other differently from two different sides of the world. Right? The snowman meet the sun man. Goddamn. Iceman inheritance. They got to go through a catharsis to get that evil shit out their blood that was put in them in the laboratory. The catharsis look like racism. It looks like sexism. It looks like oppression. Until they get fed up with the shit their parents did. That one drop of blood take hold in their psyche. They ain't gonna like that shit. So now you gonna see pale faces. What number you always say? I'm gonna make the pale face tell you the truth. How is he gonna do that? He gonna talk to that one drop of blood. And that one drop of blood, I don't care what vessel it's in, it's gonna respond to the chief. This is what the whole crucible of God, great melting pot story that they're telling us the whole time. They telling us what they doing. And we not paying it no attention because it sounds like a slick slogan from the government. It's not. This is why eugenics was created, to make it look like they wanted to genocide us, to force us to accept some people we wouldn't accept. It's reverse psychology used at its maximum potential in a sociological instead of an individual capacity. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit no more. Now I'm trying to get, I want my big mama back. Fuck the bullshit. Because when Big Mama come home and all of her daughters get their shit back, we good. We could figure out everything else at that point.
So when is that supposed to happen?
Now in real time. Yeah. It's going down real time right now. The process is processing.
Understand, Big Mama. This part of me, I'm trying to.
You might not be one of us.
Or so it takes to be one of us.
He's a Hebrew Israelite.
Big Mama.
He might not be.
Why wouldn't you understand Big Mama, but you understand Big Papa?
He's a Hebrew Israelite. I mean, listen, there you go. That's the doctrine.
The return of Big Mama.
We're restoring the matriarchal structure that the tribes operated on before the rogue patriarchs brought their Bible bullshit over here.
Mm-hmm. Paleolithic time.
It's just as simple as that. We say Big Mama because every clan called their tribal mother Big Mama.
Mm-hmm.
Or something like that. Muddia, Nana. Right? It just depends on who she was, but the tribal mother, we called them Big Mama.
God.
He directly described the nature of lions. But what's the nature of the gorilla?
Same thing. A female gorilla.
It's not the same thing. When a male gorilla take over, he don't kill none of the babies.
Well, I know
father them all. The reason why I pointed out the difference in the nature of the lion and the gorilla is the evolution of the masculine in the species. The evolved masculine understand that the nature of the feminine, she may have children when he meet her. And the evolved man is going to nurture and father them children like they his own. But the unevolved man is going to have an attitude with the children and become easily frustrated with them because they not his own. It's a difference. It's levels to this shit.
I understand, but we talking about gorillas or men? Because you're saying the uninvolved.
The same way you matched up the lions, I'm just showing you that the difference in the two species. The human species is above all that shit. But we don't want to accept that reality yet. We ain't culturally mature enough again. We have to remature back into the evolved beings we were when we nurtured everything on the planet, including the lion and the gorilla. Earlier, one of the sisters mentioned their uncle had always surrounded himself with a group of women.
I was just getting ready to say that.
There's something else that happens when you surround yourself with a group of women. You live longer.
Most loyal soldiers.
Look, we ain't even got to that part. I'm talking about the energetic difference.
That's a fact.
Right? The mitochondrial support from multiple women allows the man to heal from some shit that he wouldn't have healed from without her. A group of balanced women are Tesla coils of healing mitochondrial resonance. This is metaphysical science, and the tribes was based on metaphysics. We move on the earth like the stars move in the sky.
See,
Wait, Apostle, let him finish.
Yeah.
It's all energy. It's all energy and energy management, resource management. As the gods, we ain't supposed to be walking around here trying to pretend to be animals. We supposed to do God shit. So I'm not finna go pissing on every tree I walk past like a dog just because I'm a man. But a dog gonna piss on that, right? Because some plants will kill you dead and some plants will make you whole. But you gotta know the difference in the ones. And the women was the ones who came up with herbology. They was already here doing herbology before they decided to produce a Y chromosome.
Yeah, sure did.
So your first medicine man was actually a medicine woman. Your first shamans was actually a priestess walking the land. Some women is so disturbed in the self, they supposed to be by themselves. This is why you always got the story of the old lady living in the woods in a little hut by herself. They call her the witch of the woods. But she just was too volatile to be in the community, so they kicked her out. Her energy was pure chaos. The women didn't allow toxic women to infect they clan. That's not the man's job. It's the women's job to oust the rotten rogue women. And it's the men's job to correct the bad men. So part of their system is stopping the good men from correcting the bad men with the force of the government. You have endocannabinoid receptors in all your organs, all through your brain. The endocannabinoid system is the glue or the link between your spirit body and your physical body. The shaman's been aware of this for thousands of years. Western science is only just now discovering the endocannabinoid system. The marijuana chiefs is the ones that use it for psychic facilitation, to allow your psychic senses to become active, because the world around us is at a stress level that it drowns out your psychic voices in your head. So the ganja is one of the methods you use to break down the surrounding environment and to enhance the internal dialogue. We've been doing this for thousands of years. This is nothing new to us. And also, if you remember, every time they went to go sign the treaty, they had to smoke the peace pipe. Why? Because the ganja make you a built-in lie detector.
Good point. Yeah.
So if they come in with the treaty and they telling us it mean one thing, but it means something else, and you make him smoke that ganja, he can't lie to you. Especially when you put him in the middle of 2 or 3 chiefs, because they standing on truth. And the lie becomes almost impossible to stand up in the presence of truth. So you smoke the ganja to make the psychic sympathetic link. So when he started to tell that lie, you can say, you ain't turn your mouth to tell me that lie you about to say. I already know. That's when they came up with the term pale face speak with forked tongue. That don't mean he lie. But everybody think it mean he lie. It don't mean he lie. It means he's talking for 2 people. He talking for himself, and he talking for the one sinning. That splits the tongue. So the chiefs knew this. So he tell Paleface, what do you want versus what the people that had sent you want you to have. This is how we was able to get Paleface to assist us in every time we tried to rise up. We was facilitated by pale faces, and we was cut down by chocolate nappy-head Negroes. Then Mark Vasey, he was assisted by a pale face who died with him. Real Prosser was assisted by a pale face. Nigga told on him.
Well,
so everywhere we go, COINTELPRO, the Panthers was infiltrated by nappy-head Negroes.
That you right about that.
The Nation of Islam was infiltrated by nappy-head Negroes. Didn't no paleface infiltrate the nation. And this is how you know that when they killed Malcolm, paleface didn't want nothing to do with that. Because he knew that's the wrong one for us to touch. Let them ones that's telling us to kill him, kill him. The French told us when he tried to land in France when he was going to Mecca. When they said, we don't want your blood over here. We don't want no parts of that. And Malcolm knew he was being followed over there. Nation of Islam wasn't following him over there. Who was following him? There was those people that look like us that's running everything behind the scenes. They control. Everybody think that the CIA, the KGB, and the Mossad are different organizations. They are the same. They want us to pay attention to the war in Gaza. Why? It's a distraction. It don't got nothing to do with us. The first thing we got to realize is the same chocolate complexion, nappy head Babylonians is the same ones that infiltrated them, was the same ones that infiltrated us. If we don't never put that together, we won't understand, because it was a scramble for Africa under the Berlin Conference that divided that landmass up and drew the name Africa, which is an Arabic word, ifraka, which means to divide up. They named it that because of they didn't name it after Scipio Africanus. They didn't name it after Leo Africanus. It's named after the events of the Berlin Conference in Arabic, because it was some dirty Moors behind the whole thing. Yeah. Exactly. So look, we went into the war using catch terms to classify groups of us. The catch term Moor, it's encompassing more than just one group of people.
Right.
This is why we say righteous Moor, dirty Moor. Because it was under the banner of Moor that we was fighting the Conjure War, the 200 Years War. of George Washington, where it was challenged to bring a ceasefire to the Gullah Wars, for the Mississippians to go into a kind of war against those ones from Europe that got exiled. There wasn't pink people getting exiled out of Europe in the Spanish Inquisition. They was exiled in the Moors. In the French Revolution, they was fighting the Moors, the black nobility of Europe that lived in Switzerland. You can't live there no more. Ain't nowhere safe for them nowhere on the planet. Right? They done turned the militaries of all of the countries that's fighting for freedom against the cabal. The same ones. It's an ancient world family, right? They've been doing this for years. Their time is up. They had 6,000 years to run their tyranny. It's over. And I'm the last chief to come and say it's over before y'all see the result of it being over. That DNA is the biggest fraud of this century. It's for entertainment purposes. The people that run it tell you it's for entertainment purposes only, and that it's not accurate. The only DNA that's real accurate is parental determination. They don't test the same amount of genetic material to find your ancestry that they do for parental verification. And it's easier to find the markers of a parent than it is 10 grandparents back. Right? So every child got 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great grandparents, 16 great grandparents,